Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress. The 13th world champion, the boss, Garry Kasparov is back. He retired in 2005. Since then he has played a number of exhibition blitz matches against Karpov, against Short, in 2016 against the strongest US players, but this is his real return to the chess arena. He's taking part in the next installment of the Grand Chess Tour, the St Louis Rapid and Blitz. This is a tournament format, 3 days of Rapid, 3 rounds a day, and then 2 days of Blitz chess with 9 rounds a day. Rounds 1, 2 and 3 of the Rapid section were played on Monday the 14th of August 2017, and I will show you in this video what happened in the game between Hikaru Nakamura and the great Garry Kasparov. Nakamura was white, Kasparov was black. d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, d5. Like in the old days, Kasparov likes to play the Grunfeld defense. Bishop g5 is a sideline. Bishop g7. And now white decides to win a pawn. But to do that he has to give up the bishop pair. Bishop takes f6. Bishop takes f6, and now the d5 pawn is unprotected. Well, more precisely, it is attacked twice and defended only once, so Nakamura can take. And it's a pawn up. c6. Kasparov does not try and get a pawn back. He now really sacrifices a pawn. Nakamura could have now taken on c6, and after knight takes c6, black has good compensation for the pawn. Magnus Carlsen played this on the black side as a 13-year-old. Another variation after d takes c6 is to take on d4, and after c takes b7, bishop takes b7, again black has very good compensation for the pawn. He has the two bishops and an advantage in development. Back to the game. After c6, Nakamura did not take on c6, he played e4. Kasparov castled. Knight f3, and Kasparov took his pawn back on d5. e5, kicking the bishop back, bishop to g7, queen d2, knight c6, bishop b5, and bishop g4. Here Grandmaster Sarah in the live commentary said, "I'd rather be black. I have the two bishops, and I'm preparing f7, f6 to open the position for the bishops." And look at this move from Nakamura. He played the knight back to g1. He wanted to reroute the knight. f6. And now on top of the two bishops and opening the position, black has also a lead in development now that the knight went back to its initial square on g1. h3, bishop e6, e takes f6, and Kasparov took back with the rook. Nakamura has problems with his d4 pawn, the isolated pawn there. It's attacked by the knight, but it may be attacked by the bishop later, and even later on a good day the rook might come to f4, giving the d4 pawn a hard time. So Nakamura decides to take on c6, giving up his second bishop voluntarily as well. Please note that knight f3 would have been a bad move, because then there is a exchange sacrifice in the position. Rook takes f3, and after g takes f3, knight takes d4. Black is much better despite his material deficit. But as said, Nakamura took on c6, b takes c6, and now we have two bishops against two knights, and in this open position that is in the advantage of the bishops. Knight went to e2, queen d6, Nakamura castled, rook a f8, rook a e1, and bishop back to c8 with some ideas to go to a6. Knight a4, and there comes e5. Kasparov is trying to blast open the position for his bishops. D takes e5, queen takes e5, and b4. The time control was 25 minutes plus a 10-second delay, and at this stage Nakamura had 15 minutes left and Kasparov only 7, so time was going to be a factor. After b4, Kasparov said afterwards that he should have played g5 to continue playing on the king side, but he decided on a different plan. He played rook e6 and was not very happy with that after the game. Knight c5, attacking the rook, rook back to e8, and now a very instructive move from Nakamura. The knight has landed after quite a few moves on the beautiful c5 square, but now immediately Nakamura retreats that knight to b3. We have seen white dance around with his knights. The king's knight went from g1 to f3, back to g1 and then to e2. And the queen's knight went to c3, a4, c5 and back to b3. The idea behind knight b3 is to give the other knight the outpost on d4. So this is about white regrouping his knights and solving the problem piece on e2. Queen b2 from Kasparov. The queens were swapped, and there goes that problem knight to the knight square on d4, supported by the other knight on b3. Kasparov took on e1, rook takes back, and bishop d7 protecting the c6 pawn. Rook e2, another instructive move. It's better than rook b1, because on the second row the rook will later defend the pawn on a2, which is important in some variations. Bishop c3, rook c2, bishop takes b4. Now the knight can take on c6, and here Kasparov played bishop d6, which he criticized afterwards. He said, of course he should have played bishop takes c6, rook takes c6 with an equal position. But Kasparov, as he said himself, was mesmerized by the two bishops. He did not want to part with the bishop pair, so he played bishop d6. That meant that Nakamura could win a pawn. Knight takes a7, rook e8. Always have to be careful, there's a mate threat on e1 in the position. Nakamura of course saw that, played g4, h5 from Kasparov, f3, rook e1 check, king g2, king f7, knight c6 and h4, and Kasparov called that move a crazy move afterwards. He said he should have just have swapped a pair of pawns with h takes g4. Knight c d4, rook d1, rook d2, those rooks were swapped, and king f6. Two knights versus two bishops with an extra pawn for white, but the two bishops should give enough compensation. This game should end in a draw. King f2, king e5, king e3, g5, f4 check, which Kasparov called a nice maneuver from Nakamura. It's a pawn sacrifice, a temporary one. G takes f4 check, king d3, bishop e7, knight 2f3 check, king d6, knight f5 check, and now finally Kasparov has to part with his bishop pair. Bishop takes f5 check, g takes f5, king c5, knight d4, and you have to be careful, you cannot go to b4 with your king to pick up the a pawn, because then there is knight c6 check with a fork, winning a piece and the game. Kasparov saw that, and after knight d4 he went to d6 with his king, a4, bishop d8, knight e6, bishop b6, and knight takes f4. And white has an extra pawn again. Around here Kasparov said that he thought he was lost. He played king e5, and now let's look to the live broadcast and see what happened. Let's see the players in action.
Because after king d6 to a4, we're the ones with the better pawns.
Yes.
And bishop b6 was played. I mean, we do have a4, bishop b6, knight takes f4, bishop c5, all been played. Maybe you want to do an update of the board.
Yeah. Knight takes king e5, F5, F7, F6
Okay,
have been played. And it's the bridesmaids, right?
No, it's not. That pawn.
Okay, I'm going to do an update of my board.
There's
Sorry.
a knight. Wait,
and
what just happened? It looked like.
Gary has.
Wasn't 96 winning in that position?
I think Hikaru is on the verge of winning this, guys.
Right now, he's got an extra pawn on the A file.
Right.
If you
Yeah,
you can see the game that we're watching right now.
Exactly.
The issue here is that it also looks like he's going after the H4 pawn.
Absolutely.
And the king is a little bit too far removed to handle them both at the same time.
What is that? What is that ending?
This is one. This is one.
Bishop F2.
King,
We have
king,
Q3 with a tempo.
King F3 and King G4.
Okay, you win the H pawn, but can you block? Do you have time to block?
No, because you won't be able to give your bishop for the H2 pawn. Knight F5, Knight G3, push the H pawn.
But don't you have to guard it on the H8 square? It seems like you're a long way away from stopping him. You have to make multiple moves. You have to make constant moves with your knight. By that time, your king should be back home.
King F5 coming. Oops, shadoop.
I mean, the king is very close now.
The king is
now only 2 steps away.
King and Gary will save the game.
And
You're
Bishop
absolutely
D4.
right.
Yeah, I mean, this
Gary will save the
takes
game.
forever to. And now you definitely can't block.
Right. And Gary will definitely be able to save the game.
Gary finally confident in the draw as he twists the
knight,
bishop
the knight
to A1.
The knight has to now get to G7, and the king will be on F8. This is a draw. There's just no way to block this bishop.
No, there's a trick. Knight G8 check, Knight F6.
Knight G8 check, I play King F8.
Knight F6. And
that's
that was why he had to put his bishop on H8.
That's a good point.
Go back to H8.
Be ready whenever there's a...
I see.
Yeah.
Because there's that block. What you guys are talking about is this key way to try to win a minor piece endgame with moving the knight to F6 at the right moment.
In fact, I think Gary should just keep his bishop on H8.
Right, because
put his king on F8.
Right, wait all... This is can't be one. This is draw.
Right. And now just keep his king on F8.
Oh, he's worried about getting into Zugzwang. But...
Nervous.
Oh, King F8 there, Knight F6. Knight F6.
Bishop G7.
And then Knight D7 check.
Knight D7 check.
Yeah, so he couldn't play King F8 in that position. He was very smart. But the knight can't gain a tempi, and that's the problem here. Black is definitely drawing. It just has to not fall for any tricks. Right now, it is fine for Black. Nakamura missed the win earlier. I saw the move Knight E6 instead of Knight takes
we'll
D5.
Look at that later, yeah.
But
I just, on my board, I just wanted to show one very important trick why Garry Kasparov had an only move, Bishop H8. If Gary had played Bishop B2, it was a very nice idea. What am I saying? There's still King E6. I wanted to just point out that this is the win. So, oops, I apologize. And we have this position at the moment.
No, the knight is on D5, King E6. No, this Nakamura is staring around trying to figure out if there's any way to win this position, and there just isn't. And Garry Kasparov will have magically saved this game. And there you saw Nakamura's face, a little bit disgusted as he brings his knight back, attempting to come up with some idea to eject that bishop. Yes, you can get the bishop to move.
And look at that. You put the bishop as far away from the...
There will be no forks today.
No forks.
There'll be no forks. There's no way at all to win this position.
And there we have
And there he queened, and Garry Kasparov has drawn the game. Amazing save, but go back. Go back. Go back in that position. You know,
a hard-fought draw, 77 moves. Kasparov drew his other 2 games as well against Sergei Karyakin and Lenier Dominguez, and finished the first day with 3 draws. Hope you enjoyed this video about the return of the 13th world champion Garry Kasparov. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe, please leave a comment, and if you liked the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You also may want to check out my Chess 2 Progress channel. The link is in the description box. This is Rick from Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.